Welcome back to your favorite and most adventurous show, Georgia Detours. I'm Alana Lark, and I'm so glad you all are along for the ride. Now, I know I don't seem like someone who likes to get her hands dirty, but let me set the record straight. I adore gardening. That connection to the soil is an unmatchable experience. I recently started a little garden of my own, but the gardens we're showing you on tonight's episode will put my little tulips to shame. We're taking a look back at our favorite gardens from the past. First stop is Gibbs Gardens on the north side.
I'm Jamal Goss, and we're here in Ball Ground, Georgia, about an hour north of Atlanta, to explore one of the country's largest garden attractions.
A growing community tucked away in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. It wasn't until railroads passed through that made this an established town. Within the first 2 years, 259 residents made up this small town community. Now it's home to a population of just over 1,500 residents, listed as one of the fastest growing counties in the country.
Ball Ground offers to its residents a steady influx of new businesses, jobs, and sceneries. One of those delightful sights is Gibbs Garden.
Entering into the garden was one of the most magical moments of my life. The flowers, the trees, even the bridges, all serving a purpose to the creativity of this heaven on earth. The sound of springs flowing throughout Gibbs Garden is one to remember. As they intersect into the stream, you instantly feel a sense of peace, a sense of power and courage as you visit each garden. Open from March until mid-December, it's home to 16 different gardens and 3 feature gardens. "24 ponds, 19 waterfalls, and 32 bridge crossings, including a replica of the famous bridge from Monet's garden in France, all add to the beauty of this ongoing project. One of the greatest attractions to Gibbs is a 10-minute walk from the main entrance. The curving sidewalks ensures you don't miss this impeccable sight.
The Japanese Hill and Stroll Pond is one of the largest in the nation. Millions of ferns, wildflowers, and native azaleas are just some of the greenery that make up this beautiful garden.
Personally designed by Mr. Gibbs himself, this 40-acre garden demands your attention. With its creative walkways, natural stones, and statues, they orchestrate together, giving visitors like Susie Armstrong and Gail Brown a taste of Japanese culture.
I love the Japanese gardens. I think they're just so beautiful, and I would love to see them even in the fall when the colors are even more richly shown. But it's also gorgeous. I can't really say.
Collections of Japanese lanterns and pagoda structures exposes the history of the native culture. Accompanied by 7 self-reflecting ponds, it connects an island to the shore with a natural stone bridge known as the Bridge to Heaven. Mr. Gibbs invites Japanese natives to take part in their annual festival. 2-year employee Kathy Updegraff tells us it's one of the most memorable exhibits at the garden.
But what we do is we invite Japanese people to come dressed in their outfits, tell of their culture. We bring in Japanese food. We actually have the Japanese dancers, sword fighters, all kinds of dancing and tea ceremonies. It's just very enjoyable, and that's just one of our 50 different events that we have throughout the year.
Continuing our journey, we're led to the masterpiece, the Manor House. It showcases 7 terraces with annuals and perennials, attracting the attention of all who pass by. Mesmerizing waterfalls, high-rise balconies, and a view of the North Georgia mountains can be seen at this exclusive house, tucked away in the heart of the garden. Visitors from all over come to see this garden of wonderland.
But I think the manor house was kind of interesting to me, and I understand that's where the Gibbs live, which I think is kind of fascinating. And their pool is absolutely gorgeous. We actually took pictures, and maybe someday we'll find someone in Scottsdale to make something similar, but it's beautiful.
I must admit the weather played a large part in bringing out the natural beauty of the garden. Visitor Stephen and his wife Ray traveled from Asheville, North Carolina after hearing about this small town garden.
Oh, it's very, very lovely. It's a beautiful day to be here. You know, sunny and it's not too hot, cool breeze. It couldn't be better than this. Well, we were at the Fillmore 3 days ago.
Fillmore House?
Yeah, in the Asheville. And some people over there mentioned about this garden. And I heard about it, and I said, oh, might as well just come. They say it's really pretty right now. So we just decided to come today, take my job off today.
It's my spring break, so.
Yeah. It's really lovely.
Yes.
Yeah, they did a real good job. There's a lot of pretty trees here.
And the house is very lovely too. The outside, the garden, really nice.
And actually, this creek is also special, very unique, crossing all the way through. You know, you can hear that sound all the time.
It's a good place to visit.
Yeah, I think we never know it's such a new one. We heard about it, but I was told it's just open for 3 years. Yeah, so it's very, very special.
Behind me is the manor house where the owners, Mr. and Mrs. Gibbs, still occupy today. They bought the land 32 years ago, started from here, and expanded out the garden.
The views exceeds expectations. It's one of the best I've seen in life. Overlooking the North Georgia mountains, I couldn't ask for a better view of nature.
With all the different gardens to choose from, I can't say which one is my personal favorite. I will say, however, that they all offer something new, something vibrant, and something colorful. I'm Jamal Goss here at Gibbs Garden.
Man, I hope my boo was watching, because buying an estate like that and creating an entire garden to share with the community is #couple goals. I hope all my plant lovers out there are ready for more. Next, we'll take a look at an entire neighborhood just outside Atlanta that's dedicated to cultivating a safe space for garden lovers to enjoy.
Many people wonder how Serenbe came to be. So it began in '91 with a weekend drive to show our children the countryside so near Atlanta. And there was a historic farm for sale. We declared we weren't interested in buying, but could we pull in the barnyard to show our children any farm animals? And when we arrived, they had the Shetland ponies saddled. My wife and children were going, oh, wonderful. And we bought the farm. You know, it's fascinating. When we started planning Serenbe, it was all about how the roads would be and what kind of houses and the street lamps and the signage and all the physical aspects. And we never thought about who would live here. One of the greatest joys is seeing all of the diverse people who have moved to Serenbe. You know, initially it was out here in the woods, and so we started with early retirees. And everyone said, oh, is it going to be a retired community? And then a few families who were concerned about their children and connecting to nature. And suddenly people pulled in, they started seeing bicycles and toys on the front porch, and everyone says, oh, is this all young families? So now we're populated with 20 and 30-year-olds moving into all sorts of places. We're just delighted to have this incredible mix of people. 9 babies born here last year. I think we're at 4 or 5 so far this year. And so it's what a true community is.
Living in the inner city for 12 years was very exciting. We really enjoyed our lifestyle there, but gradually we just felt this yearning for the outdoors and for more green space and for more play areas and for a little bit more freedom of space. And you know, when we discovered Serenbe, it really opened our eyes to what we were looking for. And that is an area where our children have a little bit more freedom and some exploration time as well. That, you know, we have incredible woods here behind our home where they can jump on the trails or just play in the brook and discover the outdoors.
We have 5 children. Our oldest is 10 and our youngest is 18 months. And the children are really a huge part of why we moved here. It's really awesome to be in a community where people generally share the same philosophy about child rearing, making sure the children get lots of time outside. The children are free to play. Our children, our older girls are 8 and 10, and they can walk to the general store. And I can call up and I know who's answering the phone, and I can say, did my girls make it up there? Are they okay? And it's a wonderful place to grow up.
I think that while we talk about energy and oil prices, a little bit about water scarcity, I think one of the most vulnerable systems we have is our food systems. And we need to look at regional agriculture as a key thing that we need to bring back into our culture. And I believe it's happening in various places all over the country in various ways, from community gardens to the entire schoolyard garden movement. Our young people are starting to learn about the importance of gardens and local food. One big piece of the movement that I would hope that catches on that not many people have been talking about, and that's edible landscaping. If you see our crosswalks, we have blueberry bushes in most of our crosswalks. We have populated the paths with apple trees and peach trees and figs. And why shouldn't we be putting edible in many of our public spaces for people to enjoy? And the children then start learning the seasonality. The kids at Serenbe know that when the service berries come out, and these are these wonderful sweet little berries that have disappeared from our menus because they don't have shelf life, but they know that then soon will be the blueberries, and when blueberries are in full season here, it's great fun here because all the activities with all the blueberries. And then follows that's the figs, and then they know then comes the fruits of the apples. And so it's just a natural way for them to understand that. So local agriculture is important on many levels, in fresh foods to nourish us and the education about the seasonality of fresh foods. Serenbe now, 10 years later, is successful, not only in financially that we're building a lot more, but also in the environmental and health aspects. Interestingly, when we started, we were this weird people out in the forest. And during the recession, a lot of major developers were able to come visit us. And now studies are coming out that walkable communities recovered from the recession before any other places. So now those financial and real estate communities are interested in places like Serenbe that are identified as walkable communities. So there's a lot more interest. It was very important to us that we include farms and agriculture in our development. So 12 years ago when we were planning Serenbe and we had our farms right behind a row of houses, real estate community, everyone thought we were nuts because there was an attitude that farms were smelly and people wouldn't want to live near them. Amazing, just a decade later, they have turned into the big asset. They're the new golf course communities to live next to, because people have found how charming it is to live next to a local or organic farm that doesn't use chemicals, and so there are no odors. Our farms at Serenbe, we have 25 acres set aside. Less than half of that is in active full cultivation at this point. That supports our 3 restaurants during all the growing seasons. We have a Saturday market, and we have a community-supported agricultural program where people come on Tuesday night to get their share of the harvest for that week. Locally in the Chattahoochee Hill Country, we have people raising sheep and hogs and cattle, and we're looking forward to putting a multi-species humane slaughterhouse in so that we're dealing with proteins as well as fruits and vegetables in the area. I think in the food area, one of the most charming things is a young couple that moved here when they were in their 20s, now have 2 children, but bought 100 acres very near here, populated it with sheep, and now they opened a sheep creamery. And Manyfold Farms last month walked away with honors for the cheese industry in 4 categories that they were entered into. And so we have wonderful things happening in the agrarian area in specialty foods that this area will become known for as a great destination. As people go to the Napa Valley for the lifestyle, so instead of growing grapes and having vineyards, we will have these wonderful farms and pastures right here on the edge of Atlanta.
Take the B out of Serenbe and it spells serene, and for good reason too. Our last stop is Chateau Elan, which combines 2 of my favorite things, wine and flowers. I'm sure my ladies out there can relate. Let's check it out.
Have you been dreaming of a way to get away from all the hustle and bustle of the city? How about waking up to the sweet smell of vineyards in the morning? Well, you can finally put your mind to rest with our next detour.
Today we're taking a little escape outside of the city to Chateau Elan in Brazelton, Georgia. We get to sit with the winery expert and we get a sneak peek to the relaxing luxuries of the entire estate.
Chateau Elan was founded in 1982 by Dr. Paynos. Paynos originally began his career in the pharmaceutical industry. Ever heard of the nicotine patch? Yep, that was him. So how exactly did he end up in the luxurious business of hospitality? And why the name Chateau Elan? Paynos studied pharmacy at the University of Pittsburgh and later co-founded Milan Laboratories. After selling Milan and moving to Ireland, he co-founded Elan Pharmaceuticals. Paynos and his wife returned to the United States and turned their attention to building world-class resorts, the first of which was Chateau Elan Winery and Resort located just north of Atlanta. Following the success of Chateau Elan, Paynos built St. Andrews Bay Golf Resort and Spa in St. Andrews, Scotland, and Diablo Grande Winery and Resort in Northern California. So, what can one expect if taken on a detour to this particular Peach State resort? Aside from the beautiful courtyard, the charming sitting areas accompanied by the toasty fireplaces, the breathtaking water fountains, or the inviting suites? The renowned winery. With numerous expansions over the past 14 years, Chateau Elan is now an award-winning winery and resort. Paynos definitely made sure this resort was nothing shy of charming. Director and head of the award-winning winery program, Simone Borghese, sat down with us to give us a little lesson on wineries and winemaking.
I moved here with the serious intention of making Chateau Elan Winery one of the best wineries in the East. At the base of the new program is the understanding of what a wine area is and what the nature gives you.
The vineyards are currently growing muscadine grapes.
Most of the awards and most of the best of class and double golds have been awarded to muscadine wine. So going out there in a non-southern state and offer a muscadine wine that reached that level of quality, that was and is keep being a statement, because till now we always bring back awards from every competition we participate. When you step into a winery like this, it's not just about the wine and the liquid, it's about the experience. So part of the experience that we built and we are building is also an educational experience that brings you from understanding what is behind a bottle of wine, what are your expectations from a bottle of wine, and all the different styles. Having the chance of offering to the guests 23 wines that are sweet, dry, white, red, aged, or young can educate every sort of palate to understand what wine is about. I always like to say that in a bottle of wine there is 60% of liquid and 40% of philosophy and charming history. The best thing of being the winemaker over here and managing the winery and the vineyard is that I'm free to create and to think about future plans. The vision is the one of becoming the best winery on the East, one of the best in the country. In the wine industry, this doesn't happen in 2 years. This doesn't happen because we won 90 awards or so. This happened because there is a solid history of success, passing the message out on a solid base year after year, being on top every year.
The winery also hosts 2 dining establishments, the elegant French Le Croix restaurant and the relaxed Mediterranean-style bistro, Café Elan. Upon entering the winery, you'll first discover the wine market, which features Chateau Elan wines, along with a wide variety of wine-related and culinary gift items. The Paynos family decided to bring the same discipline and high standards that created Elan Pharmaceuticals to the wine industry. During one of their trips, Don and his wife Nancy tasted muscadine wine made from the indigenous muscadine grapes. When they asked why no one had ever grown these grapes in the region before, they were told it couldn't be done. The now 3,500-acre winery and resort in the hills of North Georgia speaks for what Dr. Paynos thought of that statement. The wines of Chateau Elan have won hundreds of national and international awards. From the moment you drive through the gates of Chateau Elan until the moment you leave, you'll experience the warm hospitality combined with the beauty of the French countryside. So next time you take a detour, remember to stop by 100 Rue Charlemagne. That's French for Charlemagne Road.
What a relaxing place. Did we even see the garden? I must have missed it, what with all that rich wine. When I get home, a nice glass of Chardonnay is definitely in order. I hope this episode inspired you to stop and smell the roses. I know it inspired me. This has been a special look back at our favorite Georgia Detour gardens. Whenever you want to explore this amazing state, tune into GSUTV and we'll show you where to go. I'm Alana Lark. See you soon.